Between every two pine trees, there is a door leading to a new way of life. John Muir.
I knew this place, I knew it well, every sound and every smell. Every time I walked, I fell for the first few years or so. There across the grassy yard, I, a young one running hard, brown and bruised and battle scarred and lost in sweet illusion. And I remember every word of every voice I ever heard, every frog and every bird, yes, this is where it starts. My brothers laugh, the sighing wind, this is where my life begins. This is where I learn to use my hands and hear my heart. And from my window I can see the fingers of an ancient tree. Reaching out it calls to me to climb its early branches. But all my climbing days are gone, and these tired legs I'm standing on would scarcely dare to leave the spot upon which I am standing. And I remember every word of every voice I ever heard, every frog and every bird, yes, this is where it starts. My brothers laugh, the sighing wind, this is where my life begins. This is where I learn to use my hands and hear my heart. This house is old, it carries on like verses to an old-time song. Always changed but never gone, this house can stand the seasons. Our lives pass on from door to door, dust across the wooden floor like feather rain and thunder roar, we need not know the reason. And all these thoughts come back to me like ships across a friendly sea, like breezes blowing endlessly, like rivers running free. The day is done, the lights are low, the wheels of life are turning slow. As these visions turn and go, I lay me down to sleep. I knew this place, I knew it well, every sound and every smell. Every time I walked, I fell for the first few years or so. There across the grassy yard, I, a young one running hard, brown and bruised and battle scarred and lost in sweet illusion.
Everybody up for a good hand cheer! Goody, back, back, go away, say it out, go muck, Wisconsin, town, the quest and jump, Chewonki, Chewonki, what? Chewonki, what? Chewonki!
Be it known on this day, August 15th, 2015, as Chewonki celebrates its 100th anniversary, that the Chewonki community does still and will ever regard Clarence E. Allen with appreciation and respect, offers best wishes to his family, and continues to keep alive his values and his spirit, which Francis B. Sayer, Jr., Dean of the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., and the Chewonki camper described as tall as a great tree, wide as the sky, quick as a bird, tuned to creation.
Being here for the centennial and realizing that we've had 100 years of success has been an amazing experience for me. And the process of looking back, seeing old friends, over 500 I think here today, and looking ahead at the same time and realizing that there's more growth that can happen, that there's lots of things Chewonki can do, that there are new audiences that we can touch. This is an amazing turning point between the first 100 years and what will be the second 100 years. Lots of things go through my mind. The hundreds and hundreds of people who are not here, who have moved on, passed on, but had a huge amount to do with the success of Chewonki. I think a lot about that.
In my time, I might have been a puffin in my time. I might have been a lot of things, but at least I took the time to sing a song about a puffin in my time. In my time, I might have been an owl in my time. I might have been a lot of things, but at least I took the time to sing a song about an owl in my time. In my time, I might have been a heron in my time. I might have been a lot of things, but at least I took the time to sing a song about a heron in my time. In my time, I might have been an osprey in my time. I might have been a lot of things, but at least I took the time to sing a song about an osprey in my time. In my time, I might have been a tripper in my time. I might have been a lot of things, but at least I took the time to sing a song about a tripper in my time. In my time, I might have been a counselor in my time. I might have been a lot of things, but at least I took the time to sing a song about a counselor in my time.
Those who dwell among the beauties and mysteries of the earth are never alone or weary of life. Rachel Carson.
Now, most owls have feathers all the way down their toes. That's one way to tell if it's an owl foot instead of a hawk or an eagle. Hawks and eagles have scaly feet. Now, another way to tell that it's an owl is if it's perched on a branch like this. How many toes do you see in the front?
2.
2. And how many toes do you see in the back?
2. Anytime the water is
Well, I think as a camp director, my anticipation of the centennial sort of followed a similar arc to getting ready for a season of camp, which is, wow, this is going to be a lot of logistics. How are we going to pull this off? To, you know what, it's all coming together. This is going to be really exciting. To, I can't wait for everybody to get here. It's a very similar feeling to the start of a camp season.
Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserves of strength that will endure as long as life lasts. There is something infinitely healing in the repeated refrains of nature, the assurance that dawn comes after night and spring after winter. Rachel Carson.
So, for anybody that thinks that it's the last campfire of the first 100 years, let me hear you! For anybody that thinks it's the first campfire of the next 100 years, let me hear you!
Pictures to take people to me when there's so much space in between. It overwhelms me. Scene after scene passes by my life. The window's a wound and the road is a knife. The irony asks me, where have you been? I don't know because I don't know where to begin. Since I was a boy, the sky and so much for these youthful eyes to see. So much for peace and tranquility. One prairie outpost, you are how I feel. Alone in a flatlands between the dream and the real. The irony asks me, where have you been? I don't know, cause I don't know where to begin. I don't know where to begin.
In the darkness, a lone bird is singing. The wind whispers low in a sighing refrain. Such music makes memories' voices go winging. The pine trees in beauty I see once again. The voices of those that the long years have taken. Faintly I hear them, their song and their word. How much in the heart can so little awaken? The wind in the pines and the song of a bird. How little we thought as we laughed here so lightly, and time seemed to us to stretch endless away. The hope that then shone like a vision so brightly could fade as a dream at the coming of day. But still, spite of sorrow, whene'er I remember, my heart will return like a bird to the nest. No matter that summer may turn to December, here at Chewonki, my heart is at rest.
Walter that he should be good and do all the things that he said that he should. But I know he'd rather be off in the woods. I'm afraid we'll lose Walter for good. He goes wah 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 wah, waltzing with bears. Baggy bears, shaggy bears too. There's nothing on earth Uncle Walter won't do. So he can go waltzing, wah wah waltzing, wah wah waltzing, go waltzing with bears. We begged him, we pleaded, oh please won't you stay? And managed to keep him at home for the day. But the bears all wanted and they took him away. Now he's dancing with pandas, you won't understand us. Bears all demand at least one dance a day. He goes wah 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 wah, waltzing with bears. Raggy bears, shaggy bears too. There's nothing on earth Uncle Walter won't do. So he can go waltzing, wah wah waltzing, wah wah waltzing, go waltzing with bears. With bears.
Because they say the sky is bigger if you live in the West. But even as a lad nestled in the Alleghanies, I can remember looking forward each fall to seeing as many as 1,000 geese arrowing into view over autumn ember, elm, gray birch, and maple too. Well, one day, lying alone on my back on the lawn, hearing only the moan and groan of a train on some distant track, I saw above me, 1,000 feet or more, something to which this day, I must say, I've never seen anything like before. The head goose, the leader of the V, suddenly swerved out, leaving a vacancy, which was promptly filled by the bird behind. The former leader then flew alongside, the formation growing wide, and took its place in the back of the line, and they never missed a beat. Well, I was on my feet, gazing south, gaping mouth, wondering, what on earth have I seen? And I told my friends, and they said, so, what do you mean so? Mark, Judy, Paul, have you ever seen anything like that? He said, no, but don't be a bore. Let's go to the park and play ball. So we did. I used to play a lot of ball when I was a kid. And that was that. Well, now I'm an adult, and I'm very busy. I suppose that's part of being grown. But the point is, I hardly ever have time alone, not the least lying on my back looking for geese. Or I may see some, and it's more or less luck. Or I may see a goose, but it turns out to be a duck. Or I may get a glimpse when I'm caught in traffic. And that's why I'm thankful for the National Geographic. Because they told me what I now tell you, and if you don't believe what I say is true, you can go look it up. You see, what I witnessed that day as a child is something that's been going on in the wild since the very first autumn, the very first spring. You see, their bodies are streamlined, necks like a spear, slicing the wind, cutting the air. And although from the ground it's impossible to see, those wings aren't just flapping randomly. When that head goose grabs the wind, air is displaced, which promptly rushes up to reclaim its space, only to see the smiling face of the bird that's flying behind, whose wings just happen to be in a downward position. Very precarious position, but it doesn't last for long, because that upward rush gives him a push. He's right up there where he belongs. He then grabs the air again, causing another upward rush, which helps the bird behind. And so it goes on down the line, from the back, which is best, to the front, which is worst. With very little effort, I'm told, on the part of any one bird. Because when the lead bird has had enough, he or she simply falls back when strength is what is lacked. And that's how I found out how this goose can fly from way up north to way down south and back again. But she cannot do it alone, you see. It's something she needs to do in community. Oh, I know it's a popular notion, and people swell with pride and emotion when they think of themselves on the eagle side. Strong, self-confident, alone. Not bad traits, but we are what we are. And that's something we can't choose. And then, although many of us would like to be seen as the eagles, I think God made us all more like the goose.
Well, it's meant a lot to see a lot of old friends, both campers that I had in various cabins, relatives of the Allens. Doug Allen was my first counselor there back in 1942 when I started at 9, and seeing a lot of trustees and members that I've known over the years. It's just been a great opportunity to see old friends and really enjoy life here at Chewonki.
Coming back to Chewonki was a really good way to sort of get back down to earth and sort of reconnect with, some of the things that I'd been missing for the past few years. I drove down here with one of my friends from my semester, and it was just really nice to drive down the road and immediately know, I'm back home, I'm welcomed again. I've done a few different things this weekend. I went swimming, I went on a walk out to Island, which is one of the lesser known points. It's like here on the Chewonki Neck. It was just really nice to get back and, feel part of a community, and also to meet people from previous semesters.
Be it known to all that we, the members of the Senate and House of Representatives, join in recognizing Chewonki, a camp and school in Wiscasset, on its centennial in 2015, celebrating 100 years of history and innovation in outdoor learning. Founded as a camp for boys in 1915 by Clarence Allen, a forward-looking science teacher and headmaster from the Boston area, Chewonki moved to Wiscasset in 1918. Today, girls and young women, as well as boys and young men from around the world, come to Chewonki year-round. Chewonki educates over 20,000 young people each year to become leaders skilled at working together toward the greater good, responding thoughtfully to today's environmental, social, economic, and technological changes. We extend to Chewonki our congratulations on its centennial and our best wishes for the future, and be it ordered that this official expression of sentiment be sent forthwith on behalf of the 127th Legislature and the people of the state of Maine. Signed by the Senate President and the Secretary, and by the Speaker of the House and the Clerk.
And coming to the reunion centennial weekend, a lot of it's been about the landscape for me, the trees. I've been going around looking at paths and looking for certain pine trees, and I have met a few old teachers, which is wonderful, but it's just wonderful to be here with the Chewonki air.
The summers at Chewonki are vibrant, they're healthy, they're thriving, and they're going to continue for many, many, many more years to come. So it was an honor to be a part of it, and so many people played a huge role in it. So thank you very much. It was a highly successful summer. Thank you.
Coming back to Chewonki means everything to me, because this is the one constant in a life that changes all the time, moving from place to place, doing different things all the time. This is one place that's always been a constant. It's always been a home. So coming back here and looking around, I see faces from 15, 20 years ago that haven't changed. Their smiles haven't changed. The gleam in their eyes haven't changed. And I know that everyone here this weekend is just thrilled by the sense of place and belonging that they get from being here on this little peninsula of land on the coast of Maine.
All weekend long, I have talked to people who've told me in so many words, I'm here because Chewonki changed my life. Chewonki changed my life and the life of my sons. In honor of Chewonki on this very special birthday, let's raise our glasses of water, lemonade, beer, wine, and wish it many, many more hundreds of years to keep changing the world in small and large ways over and over again. Cheers to Chewonki.
This isn't my first time back at Chewonki since then, but it's the first time in 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, and it's been overwhelming more than anything. All these people who, have always been in the back of my mind, but I haven't had the opportunity to see, to reminisce with, just to appreciate in so long. All of these places that are still such deep, permanent fixtures in my heart. There really aren't words, but it's been magical in every possible sense of the word.
The other creatures with which we share this world have no voice, no vote. It is our moral duty to take care of them. Roger Torrey Peterson.
Is the pitch okay? Yeah, it's when we hit that la that gives you that. So we got to start together on that. Yeah. La. It's la
Yeah, we got that.
Okay.
The bell is ringing, yourly-oh, yourly-oh. Rush ballots ringing, yourly-oh, yourly-oh. Fresh as morning light, forth I sally, with my sickle bright through the valley. To my dear one gaily singing, yourly-oh, yourly-oh. Hola, hola, hola-day, 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 hola, hola, hola-day. Before us, yourly-oh, yourly-oh. When the merry men with their mowing, and along the glen horns are blowing, sweetly then we'll raise the chorus, yourly-oh, yourly-oh. Hola, hola, hola-day, 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 hola, hola, hola-day, hola-day,
Keep close to nature's heart and break clear away once in a while and climb a mountain or spend a week in the woods. Wash your spirit clean. John Muir.
Look to this day, where is life, the very life of life. It's reinforced by all the varieties, realities of your existence. The bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. Yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day.
can remember when I was a camper, Clarence Allen would have the organ come out by motorboat. We'd sing him. So the model has changed somewhat over the years. But this is the time, it's the only Sunday of the summer camp Sundays, which are typically under the tree or now in that nice amphitheater below campfire, that is actually at the point. And it's the only one which doesn't have a skit or some story attached to it that the campers discuss. This is your time to say what you want about your experience this summer, this weekend, your memories of mentors or mentees that were important in your Chewonki experience. Perhaps some thoughts about the next 100 years. I hope we'll have some of those. What would you like to see happening in the coming years? I'll start by just saying that my own experience at Chewonki was very important to forming my educational philosophy, to forming the way I think about life. And it started when I was a toddler, and it served me and my sister well. It served my father and my mother well. It served my children, Ben and Jenny, well. And it is serving, and this is perhaps the role I cherish most with my role with Chewonki, serving my grandkids. Zoe was on her third wilderness experience this summer at 14, and Simon was in his second year as an owl. And the counselor comments that came back were just remarkable and spoke of the things that we've been speaking about all weekend. Caring, community, seeing them reach out and take initiative and leadership that we haven't necessarily seen in those kids. So it's been a life-changing experience for them, and that's an important part of my relationship with Chewonki now. So I would just open the floor and encourage you to stand where you are and just talk to the majority of the people. Be loud and be not too long.
One of my favorite poems by Mary Oliver is one called Wild Geese. The last lines of the poem go as follows. Whoever you are, the world, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over again announcing your place in the family of things. And to me, and to so many of us, Chewonki has been such an important part of that place.
We have a community here, and it's a community built out of imperfect people. We all know that we're imperfect, but that community comes together somehow, and the sum of the whole is definitely so much greater than the sum of the individual parts. And that sum of that whole creates the value wherein which we can grow. And I think I'm looking at these trees and I'm feeling the vibe here at Chewonki is about growth, right? It's not about stagnation. It's about how incredible it is that we've come through 100 years and how incredible it's going to be when we get through the next 100 years. And how all of that can also be internalized in your own personal being, your own personal core. And I'm just overwhelmed a little bit by this weekend because of how condensed it all feels, and I want to thank everybody here for it.
One week ago, the camp community, about 160 boys, and a few dozen or so wilderness trippers gathered right here for our final Sunday service of the centennial summer. And we started our conversation with would the first Chewonki campers recognize the Chewonki of today? And I shared a reading from Clarence Allen, written 45, maybe 48 years into his time here. So after a fairly significant period under Clarence's leadership. I think the kids really enjoyed hearing opportunities to compare and contrast the Chewonki of today with the Chewonki of that time period, and recognizing that so much had stayed the same. We were so true to our roots. And then our conversation pivoted to the next 100 years. And we weren't quite sure what the next 100 years were going to look like here, but we were pretty certain that Chewonki would still provide a place for challenge and personal growth and the opportunity for children to gain confidence. And we were pretty certain it would be a place that would bring people together from different backgrounds to live simply together, whether here on the Maine coast or to the other beautiful places we travel. And we were most confident that it would still help us ignite a passion and sense of stewardship for the natural world, and that through wilderness travel we would gain a sense of adventure and the true power of human community, living together, traveling lightly, traveling simply. We weren't sure how we were going to get to the next 100 years, so we just decided, let's start with next year. Let's take it one step at a time. And reading Clarence's early letters, realizing they stayed open through wars and uncertainty surrounded by that, that's what they did. They took it 1 year at a time. But we have such a tremendous foundation, such a tremendous legacy to uphold. It's pretty encouraging. I think we're going to do it. But I want to go back to what I started with, and it's a little bit, Mo articulated a little bit about it. I just think about how I opened. 160 boys and a dozen or so trip participants sat still and quiet in the woods, reflecting for about an hour in 2015. I can't imagine any other place where that could happen in today's world. Raising 3 of my own, I see how active and lively they are. And so I just think about why we're able to do that here. And I came up with 3 thoughts. One is the tradition. Our campers are able to sit still and quiet and contemplative and reflective because they're proud of